The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
There it is. You tuned into the Farron Dozier Show on nbradio.us, TikTok edition, and Live Sports. Catch me here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, only on nbradio.us. Shout out. How did I do? Was that a good take? That might work. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh,
too,
man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. All right, welcome to another episode of the Farron Dozier Show right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, MBR. We're back again, ladies and gentlemen, live Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast. Again, thanks for listening in. Today, as always, we have a very important conversation for you, always on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. You know that one of my conversations is the rhabdomyolysis topic. It is very, very important. I have personal experiences in that as well. And so today I actually have a guest who's going to talk about her experience with this conversation. Now I'm going to share my screen here because this conversation, as I said, is important because if you look at my website here, these are interviews that I've done in the past. This one goes all the way back to 2015. That was Karan. He actually was in the Navy boot camp, collapsed, got let go from the Navy, had to learn how to walk again. That's how bad his rhabdo experience was. Come to find out, he has sickle cell trait, and he also carried the alpha thalassemia trait as well. And then this is me speaking at the military base. And then another Army veteran at KCA Radio. She was a guest not too long ago. Talking about her rhabdo experience. But if you go down the page, and part 3 has the inherited genes associated with rhabdomyolysis. And you see sickle cell trait was listed as number 1. G6PD, I advocate for G6PD. I know people who have sickle cell trait and G6PD. But then you get to number 3. PYGM. It's a muscle glycogen phosphorylates. I mean, this is number 3. And guess what? My guest today is experiencing her rhabdo connected to that one, right? And so, as I share with people, anybody can experience rhabdo, right? For some reason in the world today, sickle cell trait is the focus. Yes, because athletes have collapsed and died from it, of course, playing sports, military, to the point where the NCAA has made it mandatory for all student athletes to have a sickle cell trait test done. The military, the Army has went back to start screening all of their soldiers and new recruits for sickle cell trait because of some of the experiences that I've had. We've had Navy cadets, we've had Air Force, Marines, different branches have similar experiences with sickle cell trait. But my question is, what about the other things that can cause rhabdo, right? Why is the trait only the focus? And so even when I looked at the NCAA, and it's like, okay, look, you're screening all these athletes for sickle cell trait or making them sign a waiver, but what if they have another inherited red blood cell condition? What if they have a muscular disorder, a deficiency that they don't know, that now that you've screened them for the trait, oh, you have the trait, but then they go out here and they're playing sports and they're overexerting themselves long term, and then we find that they have heat stroke or health complications and worst case cardiac arrest and pass away. So I'm not saying that. I am saying that it is important for people to get screened for rhabdo across the board, or at least for me is to have a conversation, right? So I'm going to bring up my guests in a second, but I want to tell you what happened to me just a few hours ago. So you know that here in California, there are people that knock on your door always for, and whether it's Southern California, Edison's got something that you need to get some solar panels, or your rate's gonna go up over here, or you need some lawn service, or you need something fixed in your house. I get spam calls all day, phone calls. But this one guy came today, and he was asking about painting the house and gutters and things like that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I don't need any work. My house is fine. Oh no, yeah, it needs to be painted if I wanted to paint it, but it's not important right now. And so he kept talking to me. So he mentioned about some turf, and I was like, "Oh, you got some turf?" He's like, "Yeah, we got a sale on it right now." Blah blah. I was like, "Well, I kind of want to do my backyard, so you meet me in the back." And so he went around to the gate, went in the backyard, and looked at the space and was like, "Oh well, I can have somebody come by and give me an estimate." And I'm like, "You know what, man? I'm good. I don't need. I'm fine." So he leaves, and then I hear, "Hey!" at the door again. Had my Army seal on it. "Oh, you're a veteran?" "Yeah, I'm a veteran." "Oh, of course they got a veteran discount and stuff like that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm good. I don't need nothing. I'm good." So he leaves. He comes back. Hey. He says, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay." He's like, "You sure? You need anything?" He's like, my brother's a veteran, man, and so I just want to make sure you need something. Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, man. I'm good." He's like, okay. And he leaves. Now, I've had hundreds of people come to this house, right, and try to sell me something. But I'd say he is the first to actually check to see about my mental health. He actually asked me, was I okay? And I know I appreciated that. I appreciate that, because I've had people come here all the time and never really asked me about myself. Now I don't know if he saw something on my face, or what my expression was, probably like, whatever my facial expression is, but whatever he saw, I appreciated that he actually came back to my house, to my door, to ask if I was okay. I know you're a veteran. I know you guys deal with things. Are you okay? You sure? Like, nah, man, I'm actually good. So I wanted to give him a shout out. I don't remember what his name was, but I just want to say thank you, bro, for coming back and checking on our veterans. We know that the veteran suicide rate, 22 a day. They say 1 every 65 minutes a veteran completes his or her life. And so we do know that those conversations are real. We do understand that is a real life discussion. And so I just recommend for my brothers and sisters, especially here on this platform, sometimes you just got to figure out what's next. You do have to have someone check on you, you got to go check on some other people. But also, I recommend a lot of the VA offer a lot of courses. I highly recommend cognitive behavior from the VA. If you're dealing with grief, like I was with my dad passing, they have grief counseling. They have a lot of benefits for us, right? And we do inherit a lot of old conversations that the VA is not going to take care of you, that the service is bad, you got to wait a long time, and all of this. Yeah, but you got to go see for yourself. You got to go to the VA for yourself and see if you can get some help and how long it takes. And if it does take longer than you think it should take, then reach out to somebody, find some help to help push those conversations forward. But I recommend that if you do have VA abilities to go and get some services, I definitely recommend you get some mental health or some grief counseling there. They offer it. It's free to us, right? Taxpayers' dollars. You earn that as well. All right, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to play another PSA, come back, and then we're going to bring our guests right up and have a conversation. Again, this rhabdomyolysis is so important. I went and sat down with my mayor on Tuesday, and tomorrow I actually have a meeting with the public health for San Bernardino County because this is a very important conversation. So I'm grateful for today's episode. If you want to be a guest, right there at Farron Dozier, you can go there, hit me up on all your streaming platforms, all your social media platforms as well. You can find me, send me a message, and we can get you on the show. You can catch me also at KCA Radio. That's 106.5 FM and 1050 AM on in Inland Empire. Also at kcaradio.com. We stream live over there on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. So you got two opportunities to be a guest here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network, and then also on KCA Radio on Sunday nights. Your choice. All right, PSAs, and then we'll come back. The Farron Dozier Show on MB Radio.
Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org.
Muchos de nosotros nos vemos afectados por la enfermedad de células falciformes a diario y un número creciente simplemente no nos damos cuenta. Los impactos de esta enfermedad afectan a todas las personas y en especialmente a las personas de color y con antecedentes diversos. Estar en servicio conmigo y con los demás a medida que creamos una mayor conciencia sobre cómo identificar y dirigir el tratamiento de los rasgos de células falciformes y ayudar a las familias a saber cómo superar el trastorno de células falciformes. WDCONS
Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com.
Tune in to the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the kcaradio.com website on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Brought to you by Sports Collective TV, Sports Collective Radio, and Sports Collective Media. We got the Heme Factor, we got In the Zone, and we got Fourth Down in the 20-second timeout sports segment. All for you right here on the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the kcaradio.com website with my guest hosts Robert Lamar and Coach Will. Catch us on Sports Collective Media on Instagram and Facebook. And make sure you watch us Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the kcaradio.com website. Music, talk, sports, and so much more on the Farron Dozier Show. This is Farron from the Farron Dozier Show, 8 p.m. Pacific Time on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind.
and MBR Radio. That's right, MBR Radio on all their streaming platforms, including MBR Radio on Roku TV, Sunday nights live, 8 p.m. Pacific Time on KCAA Radio and MBRradio.us. The Farron Dozier Show. For more information, search farrond.com.
It's the guts and it's the glory, 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Family is proud but torn, but if you knew him you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave, and then he came home with only one hand. Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Stand on these red lines. He'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show right here on MB Radio. Veterans Day is coming up, and even with my 24 years of service and, just hearing those kind of songs, thinking back about my own personal life and my own career, very, very heartfelt, very, very heartfelt for someone to put those lyrics together and describe our life, it's real. Only about 1% of the population serve in the military, so it's not a lot of us at any given time. But yeah, I appreciate that. You can catch me on Beyond 2D on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, which is Veterans Day. We're actually having a show that day called War and Peace, and we are peeling off the different labels around race and culture, societies, different topics. And so just so happened we timed it to have that episode called War and Peace. And Jessica's actually having her dad on as a veteran who served in the Navy. So we will be in 3D again on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Veterans Day. I didn't have anything planned to do on Veterans Day as much. That was pretty much the show because it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I was invited to speak Monday, which is a very honor with the Veteran Service of Riverside University Health and Health System and Behavioral Health. I did a talk a few years ago at an event. I was one of the keynote speakers. This gentleman, Felix, came up to me because I was talking about church and spirituality. And so we connected. He actually had me go speak to a female veteran at one of their homes, apartment complexes. She was dealing with a lot of grief. She had grief from her dad passing and her boy, like just a lot of grief. And so when I sat with her, you know, she had all this stuff she was concerned about, but I'm like, what are you concerned about right now? And all she was concerned about right now was making sure that the information about her dad's, so he had been put in the wall, but he didn't have a name tag, a label on it. And so she wanted to honor her father to make sure that that was complete. And so she wanted to have that label paid for and open it up to put like a document or a flag or something inside of his area. And I shared with the gentleman, like, yeah, she's saying all this stuff, but if you listen to what's important right now, this is what she's looking for. And it was like $1,200. So I said, so if you can find an organization that can help her take care of that and pay that fee, she'll calm down. She'll be able to work on the next thing in life. But she had so much going on. And so that was the last time I talked to him, probably about last year. And then I got a message to ask if I could be a speaker. So I'll be praying and getting my heart in alignment for that conversation on Monday, the 10th. So I'm very excited. I appreciate him for reaching out to me. Of course, immediately I said yes. I'll take it on. So that's what I'll be doing on Monday in the city of Riverside with their health system and behavioral health. And I'll just be sharing what my life was like as a soldier before, during, and after my military service, and encouraging my brothers and sisters, you know, to look at life really for what's next. You know, a lot of us, we look for that camaraderie, but that camaraderie translates over to, if you're not serving, as that sense of belonging. Like we look for that connectedness, that relatedness, that sense of belonging, people that understand us. Sororities have that, athletes have that relationship, but us as human beings, ultimately, that's what we're, social beings. We want that. We want that sense of belonging, that connection. And so that's most likely what I'll be sharing from, to make sure that they can self-reflect and look and see in their life of what's next, and then who can you connect to so you don't feel like you're the only ones, right? Because that identity can be trapped in that camouflage and in that rank, right? So those are my announcements. I appreciate you for tuning listening today. Again, today's topic is so brand and here we are today with an opportunity for her to share her story around Rhabdo. Let's get this started.
Hi, Farron. Thank you for having me. So I never even knew anything like this ever existed. And it only takes 72 hours. 72 hours for it to ruin a person's life.
Yeah.
Had I known different things from genetic testing and everything else, had I known about this condition, there's so many things that I should have done differently.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this. I was on my way home from work and my feet were heavy. And the day before I had there was a rumor at work that because my face was all swollen up, I had actually had it for quite some time. My face was swollen up, and there was a rumor I worked on a construction site, and there was a rumor that I had scabies, which was just an excuse because they wanted me to go to the doctors and get tested. But they told me, they're like, well, we're going to have to dismiss you. There's a rumor that you have a contagious illness, and until you're cleared, we can't have you come back to the
wow.
site. So I left from there. I was really ticked off, and I left and took the train, got down to the emergency room, and they're like, well, no, you don't have it, but you need to contact your doctor so that you can begin Renfra care immediately. They didn't tell me I had rhabdo, didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what Renfra care was. So the next day I went to work, and my boss was like, listen, I'm not feeling well. I said, but they're telling me there's something going on with my kidneys, that I'm going into kidney failure, and that I need to go see a doctor about dialysis. And I just need to leave on time today because I'd always stay for overtime.
Wow.
So I worked a 12-hour shift, and I got off. I mean, my feet were so heavy. I had to take my steel toe boots off, and I had flip-flops in my backpack. And so I put my sandals on and walked down to the train station, took the train, got off the train, walked across the parking lot, walked into the emergency room, and told him, I was like, listen, I said, something, I don't know what's wrong. I said, but I can't, I can't even hardly lift my legs. And so they put me in a wheelchair, and I haven't been able to walk right since. I am permanently disabled from this disease.
Wow.
It's brought a lot of things to light because now that I've finally, I had this, when they put me in the hospital that time, my CK levels were over 350,000.
What? Are you serious?
They were going to release me from the hospital, and the doctor literally hid me on the second floor until he could get indigent paperwork done so that they could get me in a room. And I mean, that man literally risked his job to save my life. And it was horrible. I lived in a 3rd floor apartment, walk up. I'm working construction as a contractor. So, I mean, you're not even a paycheck ahead. You're generally working for, the end of the week. And I mean, after the pandemic, it was really hard to find decent housing and everything else. I was in Dallas, Texas.
All right. This is what happens when you are live, broadcasting live on the radio. Oh, there you go. She's back.
Literally, I left the hospital, and I had my last paycheck, and I got a motel room on the ground floor for a couple days in Garland, Texas, to use up the last of my money, and went to go back to my apartment so I could get in. And I was willing to climb the stairs if I had, just crawl up them if I had to, because my gait, my gait is horrible.
Yeah.
There was one day before I found out that I did have it. I got up for work at 4:00 in the morning. And when I got up to go to work, I went to stand up. And as soon as I put the weight on my body, on my legs collapsed. And I laid in the floor for 12 hours waiting for my roommate to come home. And I called my boss and everything else. And I mean, after that, I was okay. I mean, I was in pain, but and my face was horribly swollen, horribly. Wow. I mean, my eyes were almost completely swallowed. And so, I mean, I didn't know what was going on, and nobody would tell me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, the Rhabdo is supposed to be one and done. You're fine.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got to the apartment complex, I went to the office to talk to them to see if maybe they, I could move into a lower floor apartment because I was trying to get back to my job.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need my legs to operate an elevator. I can bring my walker, and then we can hide the walker so the safety won't say anything. And I can just let me operate the elevator. Please, I need to go to work. So I when I got to my apartment and they couldn't get me a ground floor one, I took and ended up back in the hospital again for another 14 days with my CK levels were 400,000.
What?
Yes. And when I left from there, I had to face the reality that I had no home. I had no job. I had nothing. And it's been a heck of a fight. I have a whole laundry list of ailments that has come from this. And I just got my genetic testing this year. I got my results about a month ago. And this happened, my first episode, the accident from the trip and fall accident, I had a crush injury in my wrist. That same train station that was right there at the hospital, on my way home from work, I was going to board on one of the buses and I tripped over a piece of metal that was about 2 inches above the ground.
Yeah.
They had a contractor to cut down a right turn only sign and he didn't level it. And so I tripped over it. My right hand was affected from my wrist down and I had like a tingling sensation in my last 3 fingers. And so I went back to the emergency room to get that checked. And they were like, oh, well, you'll just have to go to see an orthopedic specialist and get and they did an x-ray. When they did the x-ray, I was completely missing a bone. They said there's so many teeny tiny bones in there that it could be anywhere. And then I had skint my left knee. And strangely enough, the rhabdo affects mostly my right leg. And that's where I get the biggest muscle voids in my right leg. Now my sacroiliac joints, pardon me, my sacroiliac, wow, my inside joints are inverted.
So let me say this. Wow. My rhabdo was connected to my sickle cell trait. And then as I started studying this, the last 15 years, just going back and forth with it, mainly focused on sickle cell trait, but I started looking at the other symptoms of rhabdo and what the triggers are, right? And crushed bones can be a trigger, right? And so I was talking to Dr. Maisha just a few months ago, and I'm looking at football players, and I'm thinking, could all of that tackling and crushing and all that stuff that they're doing, could that be a trigger over time, even because rhabdo can be triggered by crushed bones?
Yes, it's actually very common in the construction industry. A, from dehydration. B, drug use, because a lot of people use uppers. C, electricians from getting shot electrician.
Oh yeah, because electrical charge. No way. Are you serious?
Yep. Elderly people, when they fall and stay in the same laying position for too long, their blood pools on one side. So elderly can get it from falls if they're in a position for any length of time. I mean, it goes on.
You got my brain thinking with the whole crushed bone. That is something that I recognized. Again, this is rhabdo. There's not a lot of studies. It's supposed to be rare. We were talking about the other day, 250,000 people experience this a year, and it's considered rare. But I just again, just you saying that as your initial experience with the rhabdo and having the bone, that makes so much sense.
Well, and then on top of that, with my experiences in the emergency rooms, there are so many unreported cases. They're very dismissive. Myalgia. Anything to keep them from having to treat it because they don't know what to do. Their entire medical training, all the years of college, they received 5 minutes education about rhabdomyolysis. And I've had doctors come at me to be like, I'll go into the emergency room. Yeah, I'm in rhabdo. How do you know?
Yeah, how you supposed to know that?
And so I start giving him the laundry list, and he goes, well, we'll go draw your blood. And they go draw the blood. Doctor comes back, hands in his pockets, and he says, well, Miss Mayo, you're right. You got Rhabdo.
Your CKs are off the chain. I can't even believe you got to the triple digits. Like I've met some people with hundreds of thousands, right? 250,000, 100,000, 300,000. But you talk about 350 to 400,000.
Yes.
Oh my, that's life threatening.
Given 24 hours, I would have been dead.
That's life threatening.
Yeah, I mean, people that are not aware of rhabdomyolysis, it can kill somebody. It can take your life within 72 hours. I mean, so many children have gotten it.
Yeah.
In Dallas, there was a high school football coach that made his students do 100 push-ups each, and 10 of those students went into Rhabdo. And the thing of it is, I mean, they say it's a one and done, but I mean, if it's in you, it's in you. I mean, when they did my genetic testing, I mean, like they actually see something in your body that can help you to be able to direct yourself away from activities or situations that can push you into Rhabdo. There are so many different things that can trigger a Rhabdo episode once you have had it.
Yeah. So you shared with me that you had about 50 episodes.
Yes.
You're saying 50 times you've had in this lifespan of yours that you've had going to the hospital, and each one of those, either they figured it out or didn't know what it was, or they was trying to but Rhabdo that many times, and finding out that you also have an inherited gene that can trigger directly connected to Rhabdo. So can you imagine the fall triggering that in your DNA, in your blood? Because they're trying to figure out right now which happens first. Even with sickle cell trait right now, they're trying to figure out, does the sickle cell trait mutate first, or does the Rhabdo happen? Like, which one expresses itself? They don't know.
You already have to have the gene in you. That it doesn't happen without that gene. I mean, like you know, and the part is I have two genes. I have two genes. I mean, a person with one gene are susceptible to it, but whenever you have two genes, I mean, it's in you. I am in a constant state of Rhabdo. I have the first in history trained Rhabdo dog. I mean, her manners are out of control. But I have a red healer, and I trained her during my episodes to alert me, to keep me from having seizures, she can't keep me from doing any of it, but she can let me know because she can smell it once my CK levels are actually elevated.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because of my body chemistry changing.
Wow.
And generally she'll start smelling my belly button. And like, you know, if we're sitting down, she'll start sniffing my belly button, and she'll actually try to dig at my shirt and everything because she wants to smell it. But she alerts whenever I use the restroom because she can smell it in my urine.
Come on, Brandie. We're going to get to the dog in a second because we're going to have a For the Love of Dogs conversation for sure. This is the Farron Dozier Show on Military Broadcast Radio Network. I'm here today with Brandie Mayo, who is a friend in our Rhabdo Facebook group that we have been posting information back and forth. And then there was a post that came up a week and a half ago or so, and we were all commenting on those conversations, and she expressed her conversation in there. And I mean, here we are today. To understand that there are so many different triggers and causes that can cause Rhabdo. And you said you have not one but two genes. How did you? What was your experience of yourself when you finally a month ago had some doctor who paid attention to you, did the genetic testing, and tell you, hey, you know what? This is how do you pronounce that gene?
Which one? That PYGM, the
Yeah,
McArdles?
yeah,
McArdles.
McArdles.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you were notified? Okay, actually, you got an inherited gene that could be connected to your conditions.
You know, at first he was more focused on the muscular dystrophy. And then whenever I started going through the laundry list, he had actually come back or back with a follow-up call. And so that I could set up, you know, the further cardiologist, neurologist. I mean, I have a specialist for just about every part of my body. But I literally, after everybody's saying it's impossible, she's just fake and she just wants attention, she don't want to go to work, she don't want to, you know, she's just lazy, and or she just wants attention. And to all of a sudden, and there were so many things throughout my life that actually showed signs of it, and come to find out my mother and my grandmother knew and chose to ignore it. But knowing that this now has a name. You can't fight something that does not have a name.
Yeah.
And the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. I mean, it's terrifying, but at the same point in time, there's nothing I can do about that. It's power.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so the skeleton, the muscular, talk about that. So two things you got going on. The muscular
Limb-Girdle Muscular Dystrophy.
That is amazing. Like to after all those years to come to find out that not one but two conditions that can directly trigger rhabdo.
Yeah.
In your life experience.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say with that. I don't even know how to have this conversation with you right now, because it's so important that these are symptoms that people may be overlooking.
I think a lot of it, if they would actually make in medical school, if they would actually give them more training on different things. I mean, there's more research in India than there is here.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. No, that's for sure.
Can you imagine? Okay, so I've had rhabdo, and I'm in constant rhabdo. I mean, my CK levels now stay between 9 and 1200, which is normal for me.
Wow.
Before it was 3 to 500 was normal. Wow. Then it 5 to 700 is normal. I mean, I am in constant rhabdo. 50 times out of those 50 times, I was hospitalized 9 times, ranging from 11 to 14 days.
Wow.
And all they can do is just give you fluid. There's nothing to do. I mean, and here's the saddest part. I mean, as painful as it is, when your body is being eaten alive, you can't take pain medication because one of the triggers is opioids.
Yes, drugs is another trigger. You mentioned in the construction world uppers.
Yes, cocaine is a trigger.
Yes, it is.
Caffeine is also a trigger.
They asked me about cocaine when I had my episode too. I was like, "What? No, cocaine? What?" Because it's a checklist.
Yeah, they go through an entire checklist, and then because they're trying to get you to give them as much information, while because they have to run a separate test for drugs, and by that they realize they're like, okay, this person is really in trouble. They don't have time for a drug screen, and I mean, cardamom. I love chai tea, but did you know that cardamom is a trigger?
No.
Yep.
It's in chai tea?
It's in chai tea. I like ginger is really good for anti-inflammatory. And it's also good because, I mean, you already know the GI effects from when you go to digest all that muscle, peptic ulcers, it tears your insides up. And your body's not meant to digest human muscle.
Wow.
And it toxifies your body. And
that's where my rhabdo was, in my abdomen.
Yeah.
It was in my, I had the nausea and all that and the dizziness and stuff, but it was in my abdomen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I had, by the time I went to the hospital the second time that night, my kidneys were at 50% each.
This is the only thing that anybody can.
That's it. H to the Izzo.
Yep. 3 a day. They told me, they said, well, you can ride with us down to the hospital to get you another IV. Or you could just go on ahead and drink you 6 glasses of water.
Is that what they sound like? Is that what they sound like?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I heard you.
Oh, my goodness. It was horrible. And he said, just take and put you a pinch of water in every other cup. I don't think you need for us to take you all the way down to the hospital to get some more. You got to sit right there.
Come on, Brandie.
Yes. I mean, and people are so harsh whenever it comes to something like this, and they don't realize how serious it is.
Exactly.
And I mean, if it hadn't been for for the support groups, I would be lost because everybody's telling me it's not possible.
Yeah. Like I said, this conversation has me speechless because these are the things that I have been looking at, studying, trying to help figure out. And like I said, here we are, you and I meet, and you are on the list of the things that we know that can trigger rhabdo, but don't get the attention clearly in our medical community. And I ask doctors when I have opportunities, I'm in these conferences and I'm talking, and we'll be talking about sickle cell trait usually. And I'll say, well, with rhabdo, why is it that in the medical community, rare doesn't get the attention that it needs to help prevent it from happening to others? When you have something rare, you protect it. If you have a rare diamond or a rare car, like you cover it, like you insure it, like you make sure that those things are protected. Why is it in the medical community that rare is like, okay, that's not that important?
Well, see, and here's the kicker. Okay, so there are some conditions that are also genetically presented, the RYR1 or RYR1, several other different conditions that are also presented with it. But the thing of this is 250,000 people suffer from rhabdo per year. That makes us 50 points above NORD, which is the National Organization for Rare Diseases, to continue more research, to be able to help educate the doctors and everything else in how to treat this.
Like I said, when I put my website together to bring more attention to the rhabdo, I mean, there's 17 basic, just different conditions that can cause, and yours is number 3.
It ruined my life. I mean, at my age, I live my life like an old woman. I mean, just the stamina from being permanently disabled from this, and it's something that wouldn't go away. And every time I'd start walking again, I get all excited, and this is the time, this is the time, this is the time. And
the muscular dystrophy is number 8.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm literally like a marionette, like just from laying in bed with my hand under my pillow, my collarbone is dislocated completely, sitting on top of my breastplate. Then, because of that, it throws off my shoulder. Well, then, whenever I'm trying to fix that, I throw off my neck. Then I've got headaches all day long. I mean, it's ridiculous. One joint after another, after another, after another. And my best friend is a Spalding basketball. I'll get in a chair and put the basketball behind me and gently rock back and forth onto the basketball to try to pop everything back into place just for some temporary relief. And sometimes I can walk further than others. But like with the McArdles, what happens is you have the glycogen storage, and I do not have the bridges to carry the sugar to my muscle. So, I mean, I literally, my muscles do not get any energy. And let's talk about a couple of other muscles that are affected by that. Big muscles, the heart. The ones that keep you going. And those are very high risk. I mean, I'm tachycardic every time I go into the hospital. And so, I mean, I'm trying to learn now because, they tell me to consume twice the amount of calories and all this protein and carbs to try to build my muscle back up. And come to find out, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. But with all these extra carbs and everything, I'm actually exhausting my body.
Right here on the diagram, it says abnormal or irregular heartbeat.
Yep. My resting heart rate is generally between 110 and 130, which is not.
Brandie, your story is. Thank you for agreeing to come and share.
Thank you for having me. I mean,
experiences around this.
If we can, if us, I mean, people don't talk about trauma. People don't want to talk about health problems. People don't want to talk about anything that's saddening or anything. It's not saddening. It's empowering. It makes a person self-aware. You don't have to be paranoid. Be aware.
Yeah, that's all. That's all we ask.
Yep.
Especially as advocates. I'm a patient advocate, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not any of that. And people are surprised. Like you say, how do you know so much about this conversation? Well, because I lived this is my life experience that I've lived it.
Yep.
And when you go ahead.
The thing of it is a lot of these conditions, a person can actually still have a healthy, a life with content in it if with early detection because of gene therapy being available. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're good. No, you're good. Like I said, it's important. And I'm amazed by your conversation because these are the gaps. These are the things that are overlooked. We look at the military, these soldiers, we look at these, especially the athletes, these children, these babies are chasing these dreams of sports and these careers. And what if that's just not the thing for them to be about? But that's the pressures of the identity. I got to belong somewhere and I'll risk my life like a gangster, like a gang member. They risk their lives in a gang knowing that stuff that they're doing is wrong. See, we don't understand that the identity of a human being is so powerful that you do things to belong that's so dangerous. And then you don't know that you have a condition, that you're out here running sprints and you're exercising and you're doing all these conversations and you could be impacting your health in the long run. That's why I'm speechless, because you have just verified a lot of the conversations that I've been having. Like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Why is it this way and not like this and overlooked?
We didn't ask to be here. The only thing that we can do is try to make quality of life for ourselves and others.
Yeah, like I said, I know the focus is sickle cell trait, but you have just helped me show that yes, there are people who experience the muscular dystrophies that have DNA genes that can be a trigger in this conversation, and it's important. It's important.
Very much so.
So as far as the what did they say about the genetic piece of what you of how that plays its role?
I mean, essentially, I mean, there's nothing that can be treated. Now with the limb-girdle, they can actually do they can do gene therapy, but I mean, my muscles are already dead. They're gone. They're you can't revive that much. And with the damage it's done to my heart and everything else, I mean, the only thing that it really means to me is get to packing. We all have so much throughout our lives, and we'll keep those suitcases in our closet to unpack them one day. And so, it kind of brings you to that realization that, we're not promised anything.
Yeah.
And so, I've been doing a whole lot of unpacking and, digging deep down and trying to discern what it is I need from those experiences and what from those experiences I can let go of. And so that I can try, whenever I go to pack my bags, it's with things that are worthwhile, that things that serve my life now.
Yeah.
And I think, we should always spend our time doing that and thinking forward. And it's so hard to take tomorrow for granted.
Well, that's the other part of the medical conditions that we experience. Everyone, is going to experience something with their life. We're all going to have some thorn or some affliction that happens in our lifetime. But the other side of it is the mental health conversation. Like that part is just as important to us, right, as the condition that we experience. And I collapsed in 2006. It wasn't until 2023, I believe, that I realized that I was scared to go to the gym sometimes because I felt like the gym was going to kill me if I went to go play basketball or work out. And the experience of the gym was at the point where like the gym had a knife and it's coming at me with a knife is how I felt if I go to the gym, that this could kill me. And I didn't even know that was a thought of how I viewed my health or my life experience from 2006 to 2023.
Yeah. I mean, for me, even going to the grocery store, I twice now have been able to walk. Once, the first time was for 2 months, and then I went into severe rhabdo and pancreatitis, had to be hospitalized for another 2 weeks. And then the second time, all I did was go to church and go to the grocery store. And by using my legs, it triggered it again. I mean, it just the simplest thing. And then the stigma, I mean, I'm 47 years old. The stigma of being a disabled person, which is not accepted by society. If you don't have family or somebody to take care of you, I can take care of myself. I'm a grown woman. I've run in my house all my life. I've been, taking care of I took care of everybody's needs. And then now there's the stigma to where people won't let me do what I need to do. And it's terrible. I mean, I know I push myself because I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, my spirituality actually has really helped me to realize that, because I was so powerless. And I was terrified all the time.
That part. So for my veteran community, I'm sure this is a relatedness conversation, and maybe you might hear something for yourself. But that label, being a disabled person, we have to be very careful, like how we approach those labels, because from my own personal experience, I was ready to just shut down life when I was labeled as a disabled veteran. Like I almost put the jacket on of a disabled person, and I was like, I can't do anything. I can't ride my motorcycle. I can't go to the gym. I was just gonna just sell all my toys and just be done with it, and just like just shut down. But what helped me was I saw this guy who had a Can-Am Spider, and he was riding his motorcycle with a wheelchair attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I was like, wait. This dude has no legs on a Can-Am Spider with a wheelchair on the back of it. So when he parks his motorcycle, he can get his wheelchair off and then roll out. I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
And that made me look at my own life and say, wait a minute, I got to be careful, because if I put this disabled veteran label on as who I am as a person, I'm going to shut down and life is going to be dark.
Yeah. It's other fight in itself.
Yeah. So I met a lot of people in our Rhabdo community in those groups. They were talking about, hey, how did you guys get back into the gym? How did you mentally handle this experience? Because the fear of especially, as you said, in spirituality, a lot of us have a fear of dying, and dying too soon, even. So then if you have that fear and then you get labeled with a condition that you can't function how you normally, like I can't play basketball like I used to. I can't work out like I used to. Like that was how I relieved my stress on the court.
Yeah.
And now I have no outlet. I have to figure out a whole nother outlet.
Oh, and that's hard. That's so hard.
Beyond.
I used to do all kinds of crafts and stuff to keep my hands busy. I have no coordination. I love to cook, but my lifestyle does not facilitate me being able to do so many things that I used to could do. And I'm trying to find my way back to who she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's the part, because my VA, my doctors would tell me, oh, you can't, you got to scale back your life. And I'm like, I'm not scaling back nothing. What are you talking about? Yeah, you got to. And I didn't understand it in the midst of the transition out of the service and dealing with life and dealing with my health, that you got to scale back your life means you can't do the things that you used to do anymore. And for me, as I said, basketball was my stress relief. Like I would play ball 3-4 times a week, 4 hours. There was one gym I would go to 6 o'clock till 9:30. We 3 times a week, I'd be in the gym. And then on Sundays, I didn't go to church then, so I'd be at the gym on Sundays at 11 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, playing full court at this gym. So, and then playing in the military and then exercising. Like those were all of my ways of relieving my stress. And then when I could not physically do that anymore, then my mental started breaking down because I had no outlet, right? And so that part of life suffered. And like I said, when you don't have any way outside of you to relieve stress, for me, I internalized it. So then I had to learn how to not internalize it and realize that, my happiness is not outside of me. Because your happiness is, if your happiness is connected to circumstances, as soon as that circumstance changes, your happiness is gone. So I had to learn in the classes that I take that my happiness is within myself first. So if I can't get to the gym to work out or go play some ball, or if I can't get to the beach to go and see the ocean and just get in another space, I had to figure out how to generate that within myself. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to figure out for myself. And then I look back and remember the doctor was saying, like, you got to scale back. And I'm like, this is what he was talking about. And what that did, even for myself, was it allowed me to start to look at my anxiety, because I lived into the future of uncertainty. And I started living to so far out in the future that I can't control right now. And that's anxiety. Anxiety is when you live so far in the future and you can't control the outcomes, you can't predict the outcomes, then you're anxious today. Your depression is from the past, where you're looking back and you're like me, I was mad at myself for sprinting that day. Like, I didn't have to sprint in that school. I could have just finished the 2-mile run. I had plenty of time, but we're trained to sprint that last lap. And so when I heard 15:45, 15:46, my brain said, I'm at school too. I'm at ANOC, about to get on the E8 list. Like, of course, I want my best score to be on this graduation. And I took off to sprint, and that's when I felt that electrical charge come over my body. And that was my trigger of Rhabdo. So a lot of us in this Rhabdo community, after you figure out what's happening to your body, it's now the mental state of mind, right? And what does your brain go to? What does your mind go to? What does your heart fear? What is the concerns, the worries? Am I going to put myself in another Rhabdo state? As she mentioned, she had 50 episodes around Rhabdo. I had my main one, and I had 2 that I almost triggered. And to feel those 2 that I almost triggered again, I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I will not push myself to that level of where that can happen. I still have the secondary health issues. I can still have the vertigo. If I move too fast, I can trigger the vertigo. I live in 7 pain. It's pain level 7. This time of the year, my body is starting to shut down because it's cold. So all the arthritis and the joint pains and the muscle damage, that stuff, I didn't completely recover. But I'm okay, as she mentioned, because I got my mind together, right? I got my spirituality together. And so now I understand how important it is to have my mind right and to not just be stuck in my heart and in these circumstances and these health conditions. You know, the Bible talks about that. We have afflictions, but those afflictions are supposed to draw you closer to God. And so if you go to the world or Google with your health condition, you might see some stuff that's disheartening, puts more fear in the conversation. But if you go to see what God has to say about these conversations, there's peace, there's joy, there's patience, you got to treat yourself kind. If I'm worried about my health, I'm not treating myself kind. I'm worried about my health or whatever that is. And so these are the things that, you know, we're here to talk about. We're here to share from, especially around, you know, those of us that have military injuries, that have health conditions from our military service. A great percentage of veterans walk away from the military with some type of condition, whether it's arthritis or an injury, a twisted ankle, you know, ears are damaged, TBI. There's a lot of things that we walk away from service with that could impact our health over time. And so we talk about that here on the Farron Dozier Show and all the other platforms that are on this network. My brothers and sisters have focusing on things in life that matter to us and that can help other people possibly. So I'm gonna bring her back up real quick. See, are you settled? You ready to come back up? You got wherever you are, it's dark. Wherever you are, I can't see you. So before I bring her up, but I really appreciate Brandie for coming on the show today. For this first hour, she shared her experiences of what she was dealing with her condition around rhabdomyolysis and having a inherited gene plus a muscular disorder combined. I mean, there's nothing that I can say to that. There's any last words, Brandie, before you get out of here? Oh, she's still frozen. She's getting her signal together. We'll wait to get her signal together. But again, if you want to be a guest, this is a very important conversation. You can hit me up at Farron Dozier. I'm going to take a break, play a PSA, come back, and then we're going to wrap up this episode of the Farron Dozier. If you want more information, definitely, about this conversation, farrond.com for sure. The sickle cell trait one is located at wdconsect.org. So I do the sickle cell trait talk and I do the Rhabdo talk as well. And then for me, some of those, they come together as a experience that I have. All right, so we're going to play a PSA here and then come back and get out of here. The Farron Dozier Show, Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout out, what's the count? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn, are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. You know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Very, very impactful show for you today. Brandie was here to share her story. It's a little bit dark, Brandie, but I'm gonna bring you up just so people you can get your say your goodbyes. Any last words you want to say before we end the episode?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your signal's not there, Brandie. I'm sorry. Yeah, her signal's not there. All right. So again, we want to say again, thank you. Make sure if you're watching the tail end of this, go back and watch the full episode. Very, very important conversation. I'm definitely targeting and going after the rhabdomyolysis conversation full force. I prayed on it the last 4 years now, asking God, because I didn't want to walk away. It felt like if I went to Rhabdo, I was going to leave out sickle cell trait. But then the Holy Spirit reminded me that no, sickle cell trait is just one of the conditions that trigger rhabdomyolysis. And so when I understood that, it's like, okay, I'm going to always be able to advocate about sickle cell trait. See, sometimes the message is not just for the sickle cell community message. So sometimes when you're born for a message, it's for the whole world, or it's for a community of people. And so this conversation that I'm having is sickle cell trait related, but it's also rhabdomyolysis related. It's also the mental health aspect of it. As a patient advocate with the different conditions that I've experienced, you have a voice. For my brothers and sisters in arms, you have a voice. That military uniform is what you get to do. It's not who you are as a person. And when I talk at Camp Roberts and I share them when I go to different bases, don't lose yourself in that camouflage. Don't lose yourself in that identity of that uniform or that rank. Stay connected to the people in your life. Stay connected to the things that you care about outside of yourself. So when those boots are done and that camouflage uniform is over on the shelf, or you put it in the box, whatever you do with that camouflage uniform, you can figure out who you are as a person beyond that. And it's a real life conversation. Athletes, police officers, firefighters, doctors, nurses, people who wear uniforms. That's a real life conversation. And sometimes we lose ourselves in that identity of that uniform. And then when that work is done, who am I? And that's the work you got to go figure out. Who are you when that uniform is off? When that rank is done, those basketball sneakers are trying to put those things on the shelf, put that jersey on the Raptors. Who are you? That's a question that all of us will ask ourselves one day. Who am I and why am I born? And what can I do? And I'm saying, who are you going to be out of all of that? It's not just what you do in life, who are you going to be about it? And the being is, are you going to be patient, confidence, courage, caring, love, joy to yourself first? Because if you can't be that to yourself, you can't give that away. And if you give it away, it's only temporary. And if someone is trying to get that from you, then they're trying to fill the void from you to them, and that's temporary. You're not going to fill that void forever. You might do it for 2 weeks, 6 months. You might do it for 20 years, and when that void shows up, you're not going to be able to fill that void anymore. So we have to be able to start to self-examine ourselves and figure out our own voids and heal those conversations. As Brandie mentioned, we've got to find out what those things are so that we can start to heal those for ourselves, so they're not connected to the circumstances of our life, so they're not connected to the concerns of life. But yes, one of those subjects is about the fear of death, the fear of dying too soon, dying without accomplishing anything, dying from whatever that is. That is a real life discussion, especially when you get labeled as having a disability or if your identity is trapped. All right, I'm gonna see if I can bring her up one more time. Oh no, she's gone. All right, so we appreciate Brandie for today. Just check out the social media at Farron Dozier. The show will be there. Her interview will be there as well. Thanks for tuning and listening in. I believe I've covered a lot of this discussion today. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. I'm gonna show you the website one more time. This is where we have our Rhabdo talks at. So let's make it a little bit bigger. But yeah, so you can go to rhabdo.info or you can go to farrond.com and you can go to the Rhabdo page. What we got here? This is the investigative report that I was on, a part of. You know what? Let me see if I want to play. Do I want to play that? No, I'm not going to play that today. This interview right here is about a 7-minute interview with Karan. This is 2015. This is when I was doing podcast. It was internet radio, internet TV back then. 2013, 2014, 15. That's me talking to Dr. Cole, and that's Karan sharing his story. Let me see. Will that play? All right, welcome back. This is WDC Radio. I'm your host. I am WDC. As we were sharing with you a few minutes ago, I made a point on how people, and Dr. Bailey mentioned, for people to find out, exactly what's in your genes. And I have to, the right of Eric Coles is my new friend and advocate, Karan. Introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hello, listeners. My name is Kieran Steven. I'm an ex-sailor, and I too also carry the sickle cell trait. And I've had a few exertions in my life, and I have one major exertion that caused my military career to be, ended shortly. So
now you was in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
5 months.
5 months.
And in Chicago.
Cold weather.
That's where Eric is from.
Yeah,
so
I just came from Chicago. It's cold and snowy.
Oh, it was cold when I was out there too.
and just give a quick, overview of what happened that perfect day of that exertion injury you had.
Basically, my whole division, we were doing an IT session. That's intensive training for people who don't know. And I was just working out too hard, and I felt my thighs cramp up, and that's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
The only thing that's cramped up on me ever before was my calf muscles. So when my thighs cramped up, I was kind of shocked. You know, I didn't know what to do. So I asked my chief, "Can I sit down?" And I sat down, and I tried to get back up, but I couldn't. So my chief called the ambulance and everything. They took me, and the pain just got too unbearable to deal with. They had to put me to sleep. And the next day I woke up, I tried to get out of my bed, and I couldn't. And come to find out, I couldn't walk, and I was diagnosed with rhabdomyolysis too. So it took me a minute to learn how to walk again. I was in the hospital for a period of 4 months, 2 months just being depressed because I couldn't believe I was so young and I was in the hospital.
Right.
And I was in a wheelchair, and everybody had to pretty much do everything for me like I was a baby all over again. So yeah, they had to help me get up in hygiene. They had to feed me because I didn't want to eat. I was just to the point where I just pretty much just gave up.
Yes.
So after I talked to my mom and everything, she told me, like, God does everything for a reason, and I, started to believe it. So I said, okay, I'm going to decide to learn how to walk again. And that took me 2 months to learn how to walk again, and until this day, I'm good. I still have pain and everything, and I'm limited to do some of the things, that I like to do, but still I do it, but I just do it in moderation, like play basketball. I try to play football, but sometimes after one game, the pain is just too much, so I just sit out and just leave it alone.
Now, he and I was introduced to a friend of mine, Sergeant First Class Vincent, and gave you my phone number and put us in communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to meet you to have lunch and talk about your experience.
Right.
And then you gave me your medical paperwork, and I'm in the back seat of the car shuffling through the paperwork, and I'm looking for the rhabdomyolysis information. I'm eyeballing the paper, and I see this statement that says that you had, it said sickle cell trait / A- thalassemia, and I was like, all right, now I'm not trying to, I don't want to scare you, but from what I can understand is that this is saying that you may have another trait in your system
that I never knew about.
That he never knew about. And so he's been joined the Navy and possibly with sickle cell / A- thalassemia. So you and I have been talking since then to get retested and find out exactly what's in your genes, because you could possibly have a form of sickle cell disease and not just the trait.
Right.
So Dr. Bailey, this is the kind of stuff this is real. This is a guy that may have another gene in the side of the family that they're not aware about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we actually encounter that a lot of people. We're just not completely aware of what's in our genes. And I'm actually pretty educated in this. For a very long time, I was misdiagnosed. I thought I had beta thalassemia when I actually have hemoglobin Monroe. These are the kind of things that we have to just learn and teach others, and what you're doing on this show so we can get that knowledge out there.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's important. You got to find out what's in your genes, the sickle cell trait, get the screening, electrophoresis. That's the panel that will give you the different types of hemoglobins that are out there. Thalassemia, hemoglobin C, D, Monroe, as she mentioned, ARAB. There's hundreds of different red blood cell conditions out there that people are just not aware that they carry. Anything you want to share about?
No, I think you hit it pretty well.
So again, our campaign is what's in your genes. Go and get tested. African Americans, we're number 1. Hispanic community, you're number 2. Again, the newborn screenings didn't kick in until about 95 across the country. So you might want to, take a look and see if you got a document in the mail from the health department. You'd have got a paper that says your child has, some sort of red blood cell condition. If it was sickle cell SS or disease, you probably would have found out in the hospital right away or when that baby had a pain crisis. But it's definitely important. That's why this platform is here, for us to bring awareness to not just sickle cell, but also other red blood cell conditions.
And especially if you are of childbearing age.
Exactly.
If you're going to have children and you don't know, you have not been tested for a sickle cell trait, then you definitely should do that before you have children.
And again, it's not just a black disease. You have to know where your bloodline is from. So if you have bloodline, from Africa or the Middle East, Greek, subterranean, if anywhere back there where malaria was possibly hanging around, you could have that in your bloodline, and you may not be black or brown. You could be of another ethnic background. So again,
and and remember that people from India, is a very high population
Exactly.
of sickle cell disease in India. It's actually another genetic form of sickle cell disease, but basically, the same reaction and the same issues.
definitely. Dr. Bailey?
I was just going to say both South and East Asian carry
Yes.
certain traits that, when combined with the sickle trait, have pretty deleterious results. So it's all over the world, not just the malaria line, because that's where the sickle trait was most strongly populated, but
Right.
all the other traits, alpha thalassemia, there's so many, and it's found throughout all the continents. There are even certain European found
Exactly.
traits, when combined with the sickle trait, can have pretty bad results.
Exactly. So that's why we're here, listeners. And that's what you're going to get here every Wednesday. Aspects of sickle cell. We're going to talk about those subjects. And if there's something you want to talk about, you can always send me an email on Instagram at IMWDC on Twitter, Instagram, and WDC on SCD at Gmail. Send me an email, and we can talk about a subject matter that you want to talk about. And so I'm gonna get back to Eric Coles, who wants to share, some of the difficulties that he's experienced in this
Thanks,
community.
Farron.
So that's 2015. So this has been a conversation. I could go back, to 2009, late 2009, 2010, right? These are the conversations that are so important, that we're sharing these messages, that we have to be able to help people understand. So the school approved that. I went to barracks, went back to sleep to lay down. About 2:30 or so, I started feeling worse. I was throwing up, almost crapped on myself, like I was in a very bad state. Of course, at 16:30, they come back in the barracks, my classmates, and they rushed me back to the hospital that night. The night doctor does some blood work, and he sees that my CPKs, or my CK levels, creatinine kinase levels, were 12,000. At my age 36, they were supposed to be about 150. So that's 12,000. He also discovered that my kidneys were at 50% each and failing. So they diagnosed me with a condition called Rhabdomyolysis. Anybody heard of Rhabdo before? What do you know about Rhabdo?
It's like overworking your muscles and they start to break down in your bloodstream.
Yeah. Anybody else?
So when we do the pre-screens for applicants, one of those is rhabdomyolysis, and I didn't know what that was until like right now.
So right now.
I know about it because I've read it.
Yeah.
But I just always put no.
Appreciate that. So that's what they diagnosed me with, Rhabdo. Took me about 4 days before I could get out of the bed, at the hospital bed, and walk with the IV machine to the bathroom to pee on my own. Like I had that much muscle damage. Took about 2.5 years trying to figure out what happened to me. My doctor back home says, you know what, you just can't run anymore. So I'm like, all right, cool. I've seen people with worse conditions in the military, so I'm like, I can get a profile, do the walk, or the bicycle. I don't swim, so I can shake the truck, so I'm not like bad at it. So again, these are the conversations that I've been having for years and years and years of this sickle cell trait talk. Just so people are just not aware. As you've heard Brandie's story, as you've seen the information, it's important, right? So you could have another type of inherited gene, you could have another type of condition. These are all talks that I've had about sickle cell trait and about rhabdomyolysis, about all the different things. I'm gonna play this. This one is in 3 parts, so I'm gonna play this one. I think it's about 3 minutes. We're gonna end the show with this conversation here. So this is broken up in 3 parts. This is me back when I was in 2019. I was in no, is this 19? This is radio or TV? I think it was TV, radio. No, it was radio broadcasting. I had to listen to a radio show and then take notes on how they did the talk. And I happened to call in to the radio station because I heard they were talking about medical stuff. And so this is me calling in to the radio station live as I'm driving to class
that morning.
One that is impaired to get the information.
Thank you, Randy. Is it Farron? Is it Farron?
Yes.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Hey, doctor. My name is Farron, and I wanted to know if you could describe rhabdomyolysis.
Well, rhabdomyolysis is a disease in which the kidney sort of gets overwhelmed with some breakdown of tissue, muscle tissue primarily, and you are put into a kidney failure. This can happen. Did this happen in your family, by the way?
It happened to me, sir. I'm a retired Sergeant First Class United States Army, and I experienced that after doing the 2-mile run and almost died from it.
So what happens, and by the way, thanks for your service, and
Thank you, sir.
what does happen is that your muscle tissue breaks down, and it has to get processed through the kidney. It clogs up the kidney, just for simplistic analysis, and the kidneys stop working. So you actually have to go in sometimes.
Well, wait a minute. What if he was on a run? What could have caused that?
Okay, so that's part one. This is part two.
But wait a minute. What if he was on a run? What could have caused that more than the run?
Well, the running, if you think about what running does. By the way, Farron, were you also on a statin medicine?
Let me tell you what I found out 4 years later, doctor, is that it was sickle cell trait related also.
Well, in sickle cell, the reason I bring up the statins is statins increase the likelihood of rhabdomyolysis, and sickle cells, which are red blood cells that are normally round, take on the appearance of a sickle. And so their shape itself, as they pass through the kidney, are distorting, and they create the problem in the kidney. So
how are you doing now, Farron?
I have secondary complications from it. The military medical retired me because I was no longer fit for service because of that injury. So I now advocate for sickle cell trait. But my issue is I found a lot of people with rhabdomyolysis.
All right, here we go with part three.
How are you doing now, Farron?
I have secondary complications from it. The military medical retired me because I was no longer fit for service because of that injury. So I now advocate for sickle cell trait. But my issue is I found a lot of people with rhabdomyolysis doing CrossFit, and I'm not sure what could be the trigger for a normal person.
The most common reason that we see that, especially in runners, are people that are also on these statin drugs for their cholesterol.
Okay.
So it doesn't just happen if somebody who's not compromised in any way, a person who he calls normal, but has no illness that we know of, shouldn't be compromised from this?
If you have normal kidney function and you're doing these activities, you should not be at risk. But if you have any of these other conditions, you should check with your doctor before you start an exercise.
Farron, thank you so much for the call. By the way, we've been doing this for years. I've never had a call on what is it?
Rhabdomyolysis.
As you said it better than I did.
That's real life right there. So this conversation is not brand new for us. This is something that is very, very important. I'm very grateful. As Brandie said, sometimes, we experience things in life, that puts us on a path of what we're supposed to be talking about, right? And so, yes, I did my military career, had a great career. I would probably still be in the military today if I had my choice. However, God will allow things to happen to us to put us on the path that he has for us, right? And he uses everything to his good. And so sometimes our health conditions, we're born with everything that we need inside of us to accomplish why we were born. And sometimes it might be, a trauma, something physical. You have to be able to look at that in life and figure out, do you have a voice in that conversation? Because somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to hear what you're dealing, what you went through, and you might be that person that helps that person make it through that conversation, or might even turn the light on for them and help them figure out what's going on with themselves, right? So we're all born for a reason. If you believe that, then you've got to do the research. You got to search your own heart. You got to find your peace in your life and take on those conversations that matter to you. Don't think that people don't care. I still wake up today like nobody cares about sickle cell trait, bro. What are you doing? Nobody cares about Rhabdo. What are you doing? And then I meet people like Brandie, and I meet people and I see conversations on TV that athletes have died
or military personnel have collapsed from these type of conditions, and then there's a lack of information. There's a lack of knowledge. There's a lack of. So if I'm able to shed the light on this conversation for somebody to hear something for themselves, then I get to do that in this opportunity. Where are we at? All right, let's drop this one. I wasn't going to play this one, but let's drop this one.
Today on Investigate TV Plus, keeping America's troops healthy during training and on the battlefield.
Soldiers and military personnel are our number one human asset.
A veteran's brush with death highlights a health concern among our armed forces. We explore solutions.
You can experience it, or you might be the person that saves that person's life.
Then getting.
So that's it. So you can go to the website, WDCONSCT. That's FarronD.com or Rhabdo.info, and check that one out there. It's going to play the commercials. But yeah, you can definitely go there and check that one out. But those are the conversations. This is not new to us. Still at it, still bringing awareness to this life-threatening and sometimes fatal condition called rhabdomyolysis. And we're still trying to figure out, like the chicken or the egg, which one came first? Is it the sickle cell trait, or is it the rhabdo? Is it the RYN1 gene, or the rhabdo, the muscle disorders? Which one happens first? I don't know. Just go get tested. Find out. That's all. That's all I can add. That's all I can say at the end of the day. All right. Just go find out. Pay attention to your body. It will tell you if there's something going on. The same way that we have the courage to defend this country and fight for our community is the same way you got to fight for your health. That same confidence, that same courage to go to the doctor. All right. I'm out of here. Last PSA for sickle cell trait awareness. FarronD.com for more information. And again, thanks for listening. Shouts out to Brandie for sharing her story. Make sure you check us out. Next Wednesday, we'll be live with another conversation right here on the Farron Dozier Show. Shouts out to MB Radio. Hey, look, go to MB right there. You see that QR code? You could go there, scan there, donate to this organization. They are giving veterans a voice like myself. All these platforms there are covered. They are allowing us to use these platforms to share our voice, to find our way in life, and use these platforms to deliver messages. And they could use your support as well. All right. More information, WDCONSCT.org for sickle cell trait right there. And then FarronD.com right there. Low-key, if you want more about my inspirational reads, Life of It on the link tree there. LBI Solutions, I'm the curricular trainer for there, dealing with veteran suicide, youth suicide conversations. Sports Collective is right there. The link tree for Farron over there. It's you can find me at Farron Dozier on most of your platforms. You can find me, and hit me up if you want to be a guest. All right. I appreciate you for today's episode. Let me get these things off the screen here. All right. Shout out, what's the count? Oh, I was going to play one more piece.
Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit WDCONSCT.org.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was your game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn, are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man.
There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
Justice Jackson, they captured Herman Goring alive.
Tell me about him.
He's the face of the Nazis. I'm gonna put Goring on trial.
If it escapes the hangman's noose. Very sure of yourself. No man has ever beaten me.
Goring has to fall. You don't just have to win, you have to be flawless.
You're walking into a trap.
Knowing what we know now, would you still follow Adolf Hitler?
Nuremberg, rated PG-13, starts Friday, only in theaters.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.